I think I'm not alone when I say that I'm a sucker for giant robots. Ever since I was a kid playing with Gundam models, I have been a huge fan of everything from Battletech and MechWarrior to Voltron and Macross. Now, thanks to Sluban, I can combine my love of mechs and building blocks into incredible mecha sets. And you don't even have to paint it. This is one of the larger sets, coming in at 923 pieces, and it's obviously based on a samurai. It may even be based on a specific samurai, but more on that in a minute. This set has tons of details to get through, but let's start from the beginning. At this point, I would usually show a picture of the box, but in this case, all I have is a sad bag of bags. Despite my best efforts, I was not able to buy this set with the box anywhere, and that's probably because the box itself is a bit oversized. I wasn't missing any bags or pieces, but the sticker sheet was folded in half, so many stickers were damaged. In addition to being even more of a pain to apply, the damage is visible on the final build. This was a disappointment, but the good news is that if you do want the box, I've got you covered. More on that toward the end of the video. The pieces are split into 19 bags. Strangely, that doesn't translate into 19 steps, since from the beginning you need to open more than one bag in each step. At most points, I was working with 4 numbered bags opened at once. Still, it was a very smooth build, with everything coming together very nicely. I really like the way Sluban lays out instructions, with only the new pieces in color and the rest in gray. My only complaint is the sheer number of stickers. I counted over 100 stickers in the build, and you need to start placing them immediately, like as in the very first step. To say I'm not a fan of stickers is an understatement, but I will say that it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. Pretty much all of the stickers go on large flat areas that are the same shape as the stickers themselves. I use the brick separator method for applying stickers, and although there is a cute alligator brick separator in bag 10, the bottom part is too thick, so I stuck with trusty old Teely. You can, of course, build the set without stickers, but unless you plan on scrapping it later for mecha mocks, I think it's worth the effort. The build first has you make the torso in 2 parts, then the head. It's worth pointing out that there are 2 sticker options for the face, one that I'll call Surprised Pikachu, and one that I'll call Mr. Mustache. Obviously, Mr. Mustache won the day. There are also 2 options for the crest on the helmet, one in black and one in gold. I went with black, but there were enough spare pieces in the end to swap them out whenever I want. After that, you make the 2 legs and the armored section on the thighs and sides. This is where many of the stickers are applied. Again, they're all flat areas, and it definitely beats painting a Gundam model. Last is the arms and hands, followed by the armored spaulders. I really like the look of the hands, which have great articulation in the fingers and clips to hold the swords in place. The 2 swords are only a handful of pieces each, and they can be stored on the mecha's back, in his hands, or on this nifty stand, which is the final part of the build. It's almost a shame that this stand is so cool, because it can simply never be as cool as the samurai itself wielding the 2 blades. Coming from LEGO builds, there are a number of interesting pieces. One of my favorites is a simple 1x1 wedge that's taller than the traditional 2/3 height cheese wedge. There are a ton of these in the sword stand build, so if you want to use them in a mock, you don't have to take apart the entire mech. There are also plates with studs on both sides, but my favorite was this 1x2 inverted bracket with walls on both sides. Again, there are several of these in the sword stand if you want to take it apart for your own mocks. It's also worth pointing out that Sluban has taken care to modify pieces that LEGO still holds a patent for, like the regular 1x2 inverted brackets. The pieces in this set have hollow studs on all sides, including the top. The same is true for other patented pieces, like the corner 1x1 with studs on 2 sides. That should make them sufficiently unique to keep LEGO's army of lawyers at bay. Probably. The pieces themselves were all great quality. Sluban has improved a lot in recent years, so if you haven't built any Sluban sets in a decade, definitely give them another shot. The finished set looks incredible. There are details to take in from all angles, so here are some glamour shots that I may have had way too much fun filming. It measures 33 centimeters, or a little over 12 inches tall, which is about the same size and scale as a perfect grade Gundam model if you're familiar with those. If you're not familiar with Gundam models, it's about the size of 12 stacked hockey pucks, 1 nook of an IKEA Calyx shelving unit, or a miniature dachshund measured to the top of its head. There's a pretty good degree of posability, but considering it's made of bricks, you will have to deal with pieces popping off here or there. This is really only the case when posing the model though, and it's an easy fix. The joints are much weaker than what you'd find on Gundam models, so you will also have to take extra care when moving the limbs. I also had to turn my mat over to the side with rubbery dots to get proper friction, since the bottom of the feet are completely smooth. You could remedy this by adding some rubbery textures to the bottom of the feet, but if you want better posability, you'll probably need to buy or make a stand. In fact, if you plan on standing this on a shelf, you should definitely use a stand or risk disaster. If you've spent much time inside the world of Gunpla, you should already be familiar with this. Regardless, the design of the set looks incredible, even if it needs a lot of stickers to get there. However, there is some controversy surrounding originality. This mech is very similar to a model by Mosho Toys called the Tiger of Kai. I don't know much about the story behind the series, but apparently it's a psycho mech developed by collecting the spiritual particles of the Japanese Warring States daimyo Takeda Shingen as the core of the power reactor. It runs on a spirit particle furnace with a concentration of 1/10,000th of a mole. Never change, mecha nerds. Personally, I think the design is different enough to be called original. Sure, the color schemes are the same, but both designs draw heavily from traditional samurai armor. A big part of the Mosho model is the tiger face on the front of the mech, which isn't found on the Sluban model. Instead, it just has a huge pair of chest. That said, the Chinese name for this model is Kai Samurai, which is pretty similar to the Tiger of Kai from Mosho. During the 16th century, Takeda Shingen was the daimyo of the Kai province in Japan, which was known for military might due to early adoption of giant mecha technology. Do you think the design is a copy? I'm interested to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. At the end of the day, I was blown away by this set. This is the first mecha I've made out of bricks, and I was expecting it to be a lot more fragile than it is. At this size, it's obviously not an action figure, but with a bit of care, you can pull off some seriously sick poses. Plus, despite being the same scale as a perfect grade Gundam model, it costs far, far less. And you don't have to paint it or deal with decals. Just tons of stickers. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I bought this without the box. However, I liked it so much that I decided to officially import it to sell in our shop. And yes, that means it includes the box. Whether you're a box hoarder like me or want to give it as a gift, it ships from Europe, so you should get it in just a few days. Click the link in the description to learn more. We have a few more mecha sets coming in, and I'll probably review some on the channel, so hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, never stop building.